Joined by Gemma Dale from nabtrade. Gemma, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So, in fact, I'm just looking at the heat map at the moment, the materials sector on fire again, perhaps not so much some of the goldies, but lithium, it's glowing green. And it has been all week.
It's the thing now. It's just lithium and, not much else, to be frank. Like, it's all anyone's interested in. I was saying earlier, we've seen this before. There's always one sector that's super red hot. It was the Chinese milk story for a while there. You remember that? Everyone was trading the living daylights out of it and loving it. And then it was buy now, pay later. And everyone's trying to pick a winner in these sectors that have this, like these extraordinary tailwinds, and it's a great long-term story. You want to put your punt money somewhere and have some fun with it. And those two have obviously fallen away fairly dramatically. It's lithium now. It's not the first time our guys have had a crack at this, right? They've been enjoying it for a while.
Oh, yeah.
It's been in the numbers. But what has happened is everything else has fallen away. So everything else has just drifted to the sidelines. Banks aren't even interesting to anyone anymore. And it's all about lithium. That's it. Pilbara Minerals has been our most traded stock by a massive margin 3 out of 5 days. That never happened.
No. All right. So not just Pilbara, but you've got the other lithium miners there. So is there profit taking?
It's mostly profit taking, to be honest, which is good, right? Because a lot of people were in it fairly early. It's not like they're suddenly jumping on it now at 52-week highs of everything. They have had an opportunity to grab it earlier. Certainly Pilbara, they've had it for ages, right? That's been in the numbers for a long time. So quite aggressive profit taking, and that's really massive average trade sizes too. People bought it cheap, but people bought it in fairly large values. So this is not at the specky end. These are fairly well off people buying it, or who have bought it and now going, you know what, I should probably trim at this price. We've seen this happen before. So they're trimming, and then you've got Allcom, you've got Sayona, you've got Core Lithium. You're just like, this massive long list of absolutely everything. Liontown's back in, Lake Resources is back in, they're all there.
Yep.
Mostly profit taking, mostly.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see just how long this plays out for. But of course, I've been speaking with more analysts today saying, well, look, there's that demand for lithium at the moment, and EVs, they're only going to continue producing them, aren't they? So it's a question. It's
battery metals, right? We need them, and everyone understands that we need them, and so the appetite is there. And so what I find most interesting about it is usually you've got traders or you've got investors. This is everybody, because your investors are going, this is a fabulous long-term story, I want to be on it. Traders are like, this is super hot, this is fun. Everyone's having a little crack at it at the moment. It's fascinating.
Yeah, but it's interesting, you look at the material itself, like lithium, obviously a high in price, but then other battery metals such as copper and nickel have come off significantly.
Yeah, they're sort of not having a play at that end.
No.
Just lithium. That's exciting.
Wait for it to turn perhaps for a way in. And as a result, we've seen lithium, those stocks overtake the big ones in terms of trades, such as BHP and Fortescue. In fact, I'm looking at Fortescue today, it's up 3%.
Yeah, obviously there's still people having a crack at that, but that is a really concentrated number of traders for us. It's just that they're very wealthy and they tend to trade it really actively.
Right.
But the iron ore price is not as volatile at the moment. It's not as interesting as your lithium stuff, which is extraordinarily volatile and therefore really fun. So maybe they're starting to drift sideways, go and play over somewhere else. But Fortescue's still in there, right? The numbers are massive. They're just not as massive as Pilbara, apparently. And then BHP's the same. I mean, BHP's been so strong for so long with our guys. We see them taking profits when they can. They're getting back in. It gets a real rotational stock. They're kind of just moving in and out of it as it moves around. But yeah, that's what's happening. And there's not much else beyond that. That's what's so extraordinary to watch.
Well, there is energy. And in fact, because Woodside went ex-div this week, so what have your investors been doing with that?
Woodside's fascinating. It's the only energy stock they get particularly interested in. Santos is not even in the numbers. I think it just creeps into our top 20 of holdings. It's very rarely in the trades. So it's just not super fascinating to our guys. Woodside is fascinating. It's a very large holding for a small group of investors. They were trimming earlier in the year when it was super hot. Now they're starting to buy back in again. They're quite enjoying a little bit of weakness, you can call it weakness. They're enjoying getting back in again. They kind of feel that the story's still there and it's worth holding. That's it.
What are your investors doing with the banks at the moment?
This is where it gets really hard. You're looking for something interesting beyond energy and materials, and no one's interested in it at all. I mean, banks are always in our numbers. They're a third of our holdings. People have banks, but they're just not trading them at the moment. The prices are not moving around enough. NAB's a fairly strong buy under $30 because they've seen it hold above $30 recently for a while, but otherwise they're not super interested in it. Westpac's interesting because it was a really strong buy for about 18 months. People loved it and they were all over it because it had come back so hard. And now they're like, oh, it's not great anymore. Like, we'll buy it a bit, but it's much less strong than it used to be. It hasn't performed, and I think they've lost their enthusiasm for it. And then CSL is the other one, which is a massive holding. It's getting super close to $300, so they're trimming that really hard.
That's the trigger point, is it?
Oh yeah, the magic number for CSL. If it gets to 300, you've got to get out. If it gets under 250, you've got to buy it.
Yeah,
There's sort of that range in the middle where it's held for about 2.5 years, and they kind of know what the thresholds are at either end and where they want to be.
All right, and what are they liking internationally? Of course, because we have seen volumes quite low, particularly in the States, I guess, because we've come out of, well, we've sort of had summer holidays, so they're just re-emerging, I guess. Part of the reason why historically, I guess, you see September as a largely down month.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know if our guys know September is a down month in the US. They just don't love it at the moment. It's really quiet internationally. We've mostly seen incremental buying in the US for a really long time, and also in the other sort of major markets, but it's 90+% US. That's where they want it to be. And at the moment, people just haven't got enthusiasm for it. Partly it's the dollar, so they're kind of like, there's a bit of weakness on both sides. It's hard to get excited. So the only high value trades we're seeing are selling. And the one that made me laugh was Rivian, which is electric vehicles, right? And it was the big thing. It was so exciting. And then now it's like, might get out of that one.
Right.
Big sell.
Might help if they actually start producing vehicles.
Yeah, the odd car wouldn't go astray. So they kind of were like, I don't know if I need to be in this. It was, again, super hot sector, right, for a minute there. Yeah. And then everyone tails away except Tesla.
Gemma, terrific stuff. Thanks for joining us in nabtrade.
Oh, always good to see you.